Definition of abundance, right behind me here. This is our fertile crescent. I'll give you a tour. Okay, so behind me is our fertile crescent here at Crossroads Valley Farm. It took me about, I'd say, 3 years to try and get a system that actually works pretty good. Get to know my own biome here and what grows and what doesn't grow. But what we have behind me is a south-facing slope and a bit of a sun scoop, and also a little bit out of the wind. So we are able to grow some things down there that we can't grow other places. The other advantage of this fertile crescent area is that we have a pond up top. We're able to gravity feed down. So overall it works very good. The only negative of the fertile crescent is unfortunately the house is up top and the garden's down below, which means you have to walk down the hill to get stuff, which can be tiring, especially if you forget something like a shovel or whatever, or a basket. So the only downfall is the fact that it's down the slope, but it has too many upsides. But what I'll do is I'll go over each component of this fertile crescent and show you what worked and what didn't work. Quick layout here, we have our main garden down below. We have our raised terrace beds over there with the hot houses. And then what worked really well is we have some tree system along the on contour and also up top as well. So we have lots going on here, and I'll give you a quick tour. So here we are down in our main garden. I have 20 raised beds, or slightly raised beds. Each bed is about 30 inches across by 25 feet long. And these are beds that are basically, I got the idea from the book The Market Gardener, as well as The Urban Farmer. And both those books are really good resources on how to build this kind of garden system. And if you're going to do any kind of garden of any kind of scale or any kind of food production, this is definitely the way to go. I've tried lots of other systems in the last 2-3 years, and this by far worked the best, and it's the simplest to manage. I'll go over a few of the detailed components of the garden here as far as the landscape fabric and the floating row cover. But overall, this system worked fantastic. A little bit hard to get established, a lot of labor, which I'll go into another video, but overall worked fantastic. We have our carrots, we have our beets, we have our patty pan squash and zucchini and our cauliflower and beans, and everything just took off this year like wildfire. So the heat and lack of wind down here, as well as the watering system, especially in a dry year, helped out a lot. Okay, this is down the fertile crescent, and I just wanted to highlight how well, amazingly well, the landscape fabric down below, along with the burnt holes, putting the cabbages and broccoli and cauliflower in there, and then covering it with this 9-gauge wire and floating row cover, worked to produce these amazing cabbages this year. Just turned out way better than we expected. But I must say the landscape fabric to reduce the weeds and the floating row cover to reduce the pests worked really, really well. Where we're located, it's near impossible to grow these things due to the worms and the flea beetles, but we were very successful this year and we're very pleased with the results. So a great technology. Here's a quick shot of our peppers. Again, using the landscape fabric. It worked wonderfully for weed control. Absolutely amazing. I think for tomatoes and peppers it would work great. Just make sure your transplants aren't too big, otherwise they won't fit in the holes. So here on contour we have our edible trees and shrubs, basically a swaling or a raised bed system for the trees. So all the way along the garden path, where I can bring my quad in for harvesting and for doing various things, we have trees and shrubs. They're all edible, like blackcurrant, sea buckthorn, cherry trees. We have some nitrogen fixers like carragana, and again sea buckthorn. We have high bush cranberry, high bush blueberry, haskaps, a whole variety of Saskatoon bushes. So this is one row of trees, and basically I have the same pattern of trees and bushes repeating itself all the way through this whole row. And then up top, higher up, we have one more row up top there where you see those tubes. And I find these grow tubes work fantastic for trees, give them a head start, as well as in my area, protect them from the voles and from the rabbits and the deer. So it works out really well. But this year so far so good. As well as protection from weeds, what I've done here is I have a biodegradable landscape fabric, or biodegradable, I guess, fabric there. And we covered it the best we could with wood chips. And the whole idea is to give it a year or two head start, the trees. And then I expect that biodegradable fabric to break down, which is fine, to let more moisture through. and then we'll have to manage it moving forward. But once the trees are established, we should be good to go. Here's our raised terrace beds. These are the first things I did last year. I didn't have the rest of the system in place. And basically what I have here is raised beds. I made some terrace to keep them flat. And I have 5 raised beds here. And they worked out really well. Here we had some stuff underneath row cover, like your arugula that was very sensitive to flea beetle. Then we had all our herbs in that bed, which done fantastic. Then in this one we have a hothouse with cucumbers. So we have cucumbers, basically greenhouse cucumbers in a hothouse, which again worked fantastic. And then down there we have peppers, and peppers really like the heat, makes a big, big difference. Then down below I have some lattice around some tomatoes to give them some wind protection, and they worked well as well. So this is really working out really well for me. I'll probably build another one of these hothouses next year. They worked out really, really well. So overall, I like them. Just all they basically are some PVC tubes and some greenhouse fabric, so we really like them. Here's another view of our fertile crescent looking from up at our main gate by our house. Again, you can see the raised beds, and down below there's my wife in the main garden starting to harvest some stuff. But it's a beautiful fall, early fall day, and we're in the full swing of harvesting. Must hurry up and get everything in the larder and the freezer for the winter time. Thank you very much.